Hello guys, let's learn cerebral cortex. So your central sulcus divides your frontal lobe and the parietal lobe. Your parieto-occipital sulcus divides your parietal lobe and the occipital lobe. And your lateral sulcus divides your temporal lobe from the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe. Starting up with the frontal lobe, you have primary motor cortex, which is responsible for voluntary body movements. For example, right side of the voluntary body movements will be controlled left-sided primary motor cortex. Then you have a next one is motor association cortex. The planning, sequencing and the execution of this voluntary body movements will be controlled by your motor association cortex. The third one is your frontal eye fields. Now these frontal eye fields are responsible for voluntary eye movements. The next one is your prefrontal cortex. The learning, decision making as well as memory and the personality of the individual will be planned or will be executed by your prefrontal cortex. The next one is your Broca's area, which is responsible for the speech production in the individual. This parietal lobe has primary somatosensory cortex. Now this primary somatosensory cortex is responsible for your somatic sensation. Somatic sensation nothing but your fine touch and discriminative touch or your pressure, vibrations. The awareness of this is been felt by your primary somatosensory cortex. The next to it is your somatosensory association cortex, which is responsible to analyze and recognize your somatic senses. For an example, you are actually not having the visual senses and your eyes are closed. For example, if a marker has been placed in your hand, this particular sensation that it is a marker or it is a cylindrical is under your somatosensory association cortex. The next one is your posterior association cortex. Now this posterior association cortex is also called as a multimodal association area. It has all the three sensation coordination: visual, auditory as well as sensory. All the three fields have been actually coordinated to give you a sensation. The next one is your temporal lobe. So it has primary auditory cortex and auditory association cortex. Primary auditory cortex is responsible for awareness of the sound, whereas auditory association cortex, once you get awareness, like you actually know the pitch and the frequency, auditory association cortex works by recognizing and analyzing that particular sound. Area is your Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area is responsible for the comprehension of the spoken and the written language. And the last one is your primary olfactory cortex, responsible for your awareness of the smell. The next lobe, which is your occipital lobe. Now this occipital lobe consists of your primary visual cortex, which is responsible for the awareness of your visual fields. And the next one is your visual association cortex. Once you are aware about what you are seeing, further analyzing and recognizing that visual responses is through your visual association. So from this you would be able to understand that frontal lobe is responsible for your voluntary body movements, parietal lobe is responsible for your somatic senses, temporal lobe is responsible for your auditory reflexes as well as sense of the smell, and occipital lobe is responsible for your visual fields. Thank you for all of